Hey everyone, welcome to a brand new episode of RAM Live. I'm your host, Ashley Swearingen, and today is a really special episode. We are joined today by Lisa, Silva, and Jason Ross from Samsung. They are Samsung B2B enablement trainers, and they are here to talk with us and you guys watching at home or work and answering a few of our questions. So before we get started, I wanted to remind the audience that we're giving away 2 RAM Mounts X grips. So make sure you stay tuned to the end of this episode and Sarah will announce both those winners. So let's jump right into it. Before we actually get started, let's take a moment and have Lisa and Jason tell us a little bit about what you do at Samsung.
I'll let Jason go first.
Hey, Jason.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Normally ladies first, but I'll take it. So we are B2B sales enablement trainers. So we focus on essentially accentuating all B2B partnerships, whether that's with sellers and resellers or whomever out there needs to have B2B information as well as B2B just contacts, slides, training, this. We're here to make sure that we're here to give you all the information that you need on that B2B front. Lisa, please dig me out of this hole.
First of all, I want to know if we're contenders to win that X grip as well. So, just let us know here.
We can't fix the game, Lisa. We can't fix it.
I guess.
It's only for our audience members.
Yeah, so, going through the Tab Active3 today, we're here to give you guys as much knowledge as possible, so feel free to ask any questions. Both Jason and I are prepared to answer anything, and if we do not have the answer to something, we have the contact information, and we can get to you right after this webinar as well.
Great. So first question that we have for you guys is, what industries does the Tab Active3 what is it commonly used in? What are the top industries that you would say? Maybe the top 3, I would say.
This is actually a fun question, because if you asked me maybe a year and a half ago, it would be, strictly transportation and manufacturing. That's where you see a lot of the use cases in this. But I feel like throughout last year and throughout this year, we've also seen a push in retail. We had a huge win with Walmart, and we've also seen another push when it comes to any kind of restaurant business or any kind of curbside pickup, having the need for this device that can withstand being dropped, can withstand being spilled on, and still have that one-to-one experience, I think was really a huge win for us in all of those verticals.
And I understand that Knox Security is a really awesome feature. And can you explain a little bit about what Knox Security is?
I'm more than happy to field that question, as Knox is probably one of my favorite things to talk about, probably because I find myself commonly talking about Knox. But Samsung Knox is the defense-grade security system that is ingrained in all Samsung devices. This is multi-layered security. So this is not just on the software level, which we see a lot of our competitors using security based at that software level. Samsung Knox starts from the chipset up. So the hardware is secured, the software, the data, and trickling all the way up into the user. There 1 billion Samsung devices are secured by using Knox. 100 million plus just Samsung enterprise users are secured by using Knox. So we're right there at the front to make sure that we're protecting from any intrusions, any malware, just by simply making sure that Samsung Knox is in all of our devices.
And if I can jump into that really quickly, when it comes to Samsung Knox, I mean, if you're thinking about whether you're having a 1-to-1 device or 2-to-1 or 3-to-1 for the device, having those devices being taken home, you now need security for any kind of company information once it's outside of the workplace or even inside of the workplace, passing between different workers, right? So having that security and knowing that you're secure, like Jason said, on a hardware level and then on a software level just gives that peace of mind.
Yeah, and that seems very important, especially today when you feel like there's a lot more, threats to our security. Seems like a lot of viruses, seems like a lot of people are, trying to use malware, and I feel like I'm hearing about it all the time. So that's a really, really great feature. And I also understand that the Tab Active3 has an awesome feature additional to the Knox, and that is the ability to function in no battery mode. Can you explain a little bit about that?
So maybe I lied about my favorite feature. Maybe I lied because no
You can
battery
have
mode,
multiple favorites. There's no one's gonna get mad about that.
I can vibe with that, right? The no battery mode is a feature that completely blew me away because when I was told about it first with the Tab Active3, it's like I gotta see this in person. I gotta know what this looks like. So to talk about the no battery mode, first I'd like everyone to know that the Tab Active3 has a removable battery. So whether you blow through your entire battery while you're using the tablet, never fear because that removable battery, thank you very much, Lisa, for showcasing that. That removable battery, you can just pull one off your charging station, plug it in, and you can utilize that with your device. But let's say you've run through all your batteries. Let's say you're in the transportation industry and you're a trucker and you don't want to worry about potentially exposing your battery to those intense heats in Florida and Texas and Oregon. Remember that happening last week?
Yeah, here in Seattle, it's happening here too.
The no battery mode, all you gotta do is plug in your tablet via that USB-C port or that pin port that's also in the bottom of the device, and the tablet will work. No battery needed. And you can plug into your Wi-Fi that way, your hotspot, your LTE if it's a connected device, and still work on your device without the battery being installed thanks to no battery mode.
Yeah, so you can see it's still connected to Wi-Fi. We're still charging. Oops, wrong side. We're still charging here, and there's no battery connected. So you can be charging those batteries, or you can be charging the device and still have the ability to use it, whether that's transportation, whether that's manufacturing. There's so many different use cases that can go with the no battery mode. And one other thing to add as well is that no battery mode. You guys actually brought this up. Raymond's brought this up. You can actually use no battery mode with the battery inside. So let's say you have the battery inside, you want to switch it over to no battery mode, that's a possibility as well.
Which to me seems really smart because if you are, let's say, using the case of transportation and you don't want to use that battery, you want to save that battery because you know you're going to be in the field, so you'd rather just have, you know, it plugged in and save the battery juice, then you can just turn on no battery mode and save it without having to remove the entire battery. Just switch a couple of buttons and then you're good to go. I know we all got really excited here at RAM when we started using no battery mode. We were like, we don't really know what this is. Let's fiddle around with it. And we were shocked. We were like, this is so smart. This is so smart. I know Rick got excited about it as well.
Perfect case
Yeah,
right
that's
there. Thanks for
that's
sharing
when we
that.
first set it up. I have a quick follow-up to that regarding the no battery mode. Now, I'm trying to imagine the most practical use cases where the no battery mode is truly a necessity. What comes to mind for me immediately is just inside of a car where maybe there's a lot of it's much higher temperatures that if for a truck that might be sitting in the sun for quite a long time. And that's what's great about the RAM Tough case that we have. It's basically that two-piece enclosure that has the built-in connector where you can basically have it hardwired into the vehicle. So there's no risk of, you know, accidentally tugging on the cable and disconnecting or anything like that. So it stays powered and connected inside of the vehicle. Are there any, aside from the cab of a truck, are there any applications out there where there is more of a need for that no battery mode feature?
The biggest use case that we see is inside of a truck with transportation. And another one that we've seen that's kind of becoming a little bit bigger is retail, definitely, just because of due to the fact that you're constantly having to switch out batteries, right? So having that device, being able to take the battery out and having it plugged in, and then also being able to use it while walking around instead of doing like just inventory, scanning inventory, also being in the field and scanning inventory through the shelvings, you know, before hours or after hours is a huge use case that we see as well.
Mm-hmm. And then the next thing we wanted to talk about is the wireless DeX feature. Can you briefly explain what Samsung DeX is and how the DeX works, or how DeX works with the Tab Active3?
Yeah, so we've actually seen quite a bit of wins with this in public safety. So having a tablet be able to use as a PC with just some connectors is really huge, right? So being able to take this tablet here, being able to turn on wireless DeX, which is just straight from the pool bar, which I'll go ahead and show as well. So when you pull down from the top, let's see if we can get that to focus, you'll see different options here. So DeX is just straight away as a button. And once you click Samsung DeX, all you have to do is select either a wireless monitor or a Miracast enabled wireless monitor or TV. And once you have that connected, you have exactly what a PC looks like.
Yeah.
I mean, you have your taskbar, you can add different web pages on, and all of your applications. So even if it's not optimized for Samsung DeX, you can still open it up, right? You can still open everything completely up and it'll resize or not resize depending if it's applicable or not. But we see it day in and day out, we're constantly refreshing the applications that are optimized for Samsung DeX and constantly making new collaborations with those applications. So, you know, keep a lookout for Samsung DeX because it's getting bigger and bigger. And it's only been here for, you know, what, Jason, maybe about 5 years now?
I think that's right there on the nose, and I want to point out that Samsung DeX started out as just being Samsung DeX, where you had to be plugged in with a cable, and now we're talking about wireless DeX, and so we don't need to purchase that extra cable if we don't need it. However, we're still able to plug in, so there's a two-pronged approach, whether you're at the desk or you're in the field or what have you. If you have access to a Miracast enabled monitor, or you just have access to a monitor and a cable, you can still enjoy the usage of Samsung DeX however you need to out in the field.
And it's like having a two-in-one device once you're using Samsung DeX, because you can be writing on the tablet and you can be taking notes, and then at the same time, you can be having whatever you want on Samsung DeX, right? So if you have up Excel sheets, if you have up anything Microsoft, the tablet itself, you can be using it for communication.
I have a quick question on the wireless aspect of DeX, because I'm thinking of, you know, like charging a cable to your phone versus wireless charging, where the wireless aspect of it in that instance is not necessarily the same. So I'm curious, is the connection of the wireless DeX the exact same, or is there any difference regarding what kind of data is being transferred to the monitor?
So it's kind of like the way, think of like casting, right? So whenever you send over your device, it's the same concept, but not exactly the same. So when you think about casting, you're sending over whatever's on your screen, any information that's on the actual tablet, but you're not sharing that information with the monitor, right? Or the computer. So the same goes for Samsung DeX. You're not sharing any information necessarily. It's more like casting over in a different sense because you have a two-in-one. So you see a completely different screen than you would on your tablet. So it's not like when you're casting and you see all your text messages, all your notifications, everything pop up, right? And then you have to change it to landscape or portrait and it doesn't resize. That can be a mess. When you're thinking about Samsung DeX, it's bringing over another screen that resizes itself to fully optimize for that monitor or that or TV, depending on what you're using. And then you have different settings when it comes to Samsung DeX. So you can control what your notifications look like, and it won't change the way that you get notifications on your actual tablet. You can be opening up applications and it won't open up on the tablet itself while you're using it. So I really like Samsung DeX because it almost gives you two devices in one.
That's awesome, yeah.
And RAM has always been interested in Samsung DeX. As soon as we heard about it, we started trying to make as many applications or, I mean, products that would support that application. And we have taken them to so many trade shows, and I have been to those trade shows, and people are always amazed. They're like, this is the greatest product, and they love it, and it makes sense. And you were right, this is perfect for public safety. It's also great for anyone working out in the field. You know, you're working on the field, you have to do an inspection, you do something on your tablet, you have some sort of report that you need to fill out, and then you have that on your tablet, you go to your next job, what have you, then you can go back to your desk, put it into, you know, plug it into your monitor, and everything is there. And you don't have to, there's no longer, you know, file transferring and having to like, I can't figure out how to do that, so I have to email myself, and then my email is too big, so it bounces back. And it's just such a smart, intuitive application. We love it over here. We actually have, I was gonna talk a little bit about this, and I'm worried if I use it, is it gonna tip? Because this is meant for a vehicle.
You could try if you like. Let's try it out.
It's pretty heavy, but here we have, this is one of our really great solutions that we have made and works perfectly with Samsung DeX. And this is our vehicle ecosystem. So this is our GDS and next gen. And essentially, of course, I took it out. It would pair with our IntelliSkin next gen, and this fits the Tab Active3. So you put this into the IntelliSkin and then pop this in this way. Pop this in, and now you have a really sleek in-vehicle workstation. Pop that out and you're good to go. And then you can easily plug in your device, take this back to your office, plug it in, and it just streamlines your entire process.
Another great thing, this relates more to the larger Samsung tablets like the Tab Active Pro, and I think one of the new S7 tablets where there's actually the DeX mode built into the tablet.
Oh, that's right.
Which is awesome for the vehicle application because you're really creating that desktop experience in vehicle as well for people that want to utilize that keyboard option.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
And the keyword there, and I think you mentioned it a few times just now, but it's that desktop mode. So we're using tablets, we're using our phones, and we're familiar with Android and Samsung One UI and what that looks like. But if you're trying to give that presentation or you're trying to access Excel and Word the way that you would on a laptop, well, using Samsung DeX in those bigger tablets or even the Active3 in that desktop mode, you're going to be essentially getting the same experience that you would be getting on a traditional laptop or PC by utilizing Samsung wireless DeX.
So, Rick, I guess we could jump to questions.
Yeah, definitely, and we're right on time with that. One last thing I did want to point out is we are using Samsung tablets all over our warehouse as a manufacturer. We are using time clock applications in many locations throughout our facilities. We have tablets mounted on our forklifts. Any given moment when you're out in the warehouse, you see order pickers using our IntelliSkins and shoulder straps and the hand strap, and they're using our internal software that we've developed for our own manufacturing purposes. But just Samsung has been boosting us big time over the years as far as just the performance of the tablets. Has been a very intuitive technology for all of our workers, and it's been excellent.
Can we get a discount? I guess is what he's trying to say.
We will trade.
With about discounts, we actually have a SPA process. So it's a special pricing agreement process. And with that, you can just contact channel managers, and then we can give you the information for Saurabh, who's our product manager, and he can get you to the correct channel manager to be able to get you through that process. So we do have processes.
Best news I heard all day.
Oh, you have to do that.
Excellent.
So, do we have any questions?
Yes, our first question is from Mannix, and he is asking, are DeX applications more popular with a Samsung tablet or phone, i.e. public safety projects, majority use the Tab Active3 DeX?
So I'll take that question. So 100% on our tablet, I would have to say, just because you do have that larger screen. So when you're using it kind of like as a dual screen and being able to use that DeX mode, like, Ramman's just talked about, being able to use that DeX mode in a larger screen, such as our Tab S7, which is pretty over a 10-inch screen. And then we also have our Tab Active3 as well. So anything larger wise, we do see more usage from in the DeX mode.
And our next question is from Levi, and he is asking, what's new with the Tab Active3 that makes it different than the Tab Active2?
Yeah, so this is fun because when you're looking at the Tab Active3 and the Tab Active2, a lot of the time you're seeing these cases and you're on these devices and you're thinking maybe they look quite similar. But with the Tab Active3 overall, we do have a larger processing power. So you're able to do more, multitask better when it comes to the Tab Active3, as well as storage. So storage is a huge one, right? We went from having external memory up to 256 gigabytes on the Tab Active2 to a whole terabyte on the Tab Active3. So, having that storage size availability and having that processing power and having that no battery mode on the Tab Active3, plus the S Pen, which is a huge win when it comes to the Tab Active3, and just making it really versatile, right? So whether you have it connected to, that keyboard inside and having it in DeX mode, and then going to the field and being able to have e-signatures for tickets, that's just how versatile this tablet is. And I think as we go forward with new versions, we see more options available, and that's exactly what we saw in the Tab Active2 versus the Tab Active3. I hope that answers your question. If you have any in detail questions about the differences, screen size or anything like that, we can also give RAM mounts some charts. We can give you some charts, no problem.
I'd also like to add there, we talked about it with one of our questions earlier, but that no battery mode is going to be a fantastic addition onto this tablet to make sure that, again, we're not utilizing battery when we don't need to use battery, or if we don't have battery to use, that's available with the Tab Active3.
Another point too is the camera. I didn't bring this up, but the camera, we went from 8 megapixels to, I believe, 13 on the Tab Active3. So if you're using our barcode scanning solutions along with, having that sling, along with having the different RAM mounts attached to it, you're going to get a great camera for those barcode scanning on the Tab Active3.
Quick question to that is that, does that enhanced camera impact the distance of scanning?
Oh. So for that, I'm not 100% sure because I haven't read any studies on the distance overall, but I can get back to you on that.
Okay.
I can actually field that maybe a little bit here, but there has been increased distance when it comes down to scanning. Knox Capture is built right into the Knox platform. And so for those scanning needs, whether you're scanning inventory barcodes or whatever the scanning needs are, you are going to have a greater distance in scanning. I don't have those numbers in front of me, but I do know that it is an improved distance from where we were previously.
Great.
And our next question is from Luke, and he is asking, does the touch screen work while you're wearing gloves?
Luke,
yes.
you're on it. You are 100% on it. With the new enhanced touch mode, not only is that the regular finger touch, not only is that the S Pen that comes with the device, but you also have the ability to have touch enabled through gloves via the enhanced touch for the screen on the Tab Active3. So that was a really long answer to say yes.
We have glove mode and wet touch. So let's say that your hands are wet from washing your hands, sanitizing, we're constantly sanitizing. So you can still use it. Of course, it does depend on the thickness of the glove. So if you are using kind of like a gardening glove or anything really sturdy where you still can't get the fingertips, you might just have to test out a few gloves. But overall, we've tested it with quite a few gloves and it honestly works really well. I was quite shocked at myself too.
That's awesome.
And our final question is from Catherine, and she is asking, is the Tab Active3 waterproof?
Water resistant, so keyword resistant. So these are military grade standard, which is amazing. So we do have 1.5 anti-shock with the meter wise, and we do have 1.5 meters with water as well.
If you're looking for that water resistance rating, that's going to be that IP68 compliance rating for water resistance. But as Lisa mentioned, there's also that anti-shock and all of those other military grade protections that we do get with the MIL standard 810H protection that we get with the tablet.
And those were all of our questions today.
Great. Thanks, Sarah. And thank you both so much for joining us. Sarah, do you want to announce both of our winners?
Yes, let's give a big congratulations to both Augustine Farias and Harrison Gorel.
Congratulations. And again, thank you both so much for joining us. This has been really fun, and we should do this again.
We're here at your disposal. Just give us a ring and we'll be happy to do it again.
We will for sure. This has been awesome. And thank you guys for joining us today, and we will see you next time.